What's up? This is Marcus from Northlane.
Marcus, good afternoon. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Kris. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thanks, brother, but not as good as you because Northlane are entering pretty much uncharted territory later this month, mate. When you're one of five Australian representatives in the most performed hard rock, heavy metal work category at the 2025 APRAs, mate. So, firstly, big congratulations, bro.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's exciting stuff, and it's with a bunch of other bands. It's cool to see just so many bands that we've all kind of grown up with and kind of all built our careers kind of at the same time. It's cool to see the new generation kind of taking that spot.
I bet, man. You guys are no strangers to the limelight. You've played all over the world with some of the biggest festivals with some of the biggest bands. But is this going to be more intense than that, bro? Like it's on your home soil. It's a pretty prestigious award.
Absolutely. And I mean, APRA's always been such like a crucial part of, Australian music in general in terms of supporting artists and making sure they get kind of, what they deserve out of what they're doing out of their career. So it's an absolute privilege and yeah, it's really exciting.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, mate, how nervous are you going to be on the night?
I mean, a little bit nervous, but honestly, in my mind, I'm just like, surely Speed have it in the bag.
Confidence, mate. I like it.
Yeah, I'm confident they've got it. Yeah, for sure.
It sort of gets me a little bit though. Like the category is called most performed hard rock heavy metal work. Like, does that mean that whatever band performed their own song more times in 12 months is the winner?
Yeah, I was looking into it. It's kind of confusing, but yeah, it seems it's a bit of that, but also in terms of where, like if your song's being played at, sporting events on TV and stuff. So it's all those kind of things as well, which is really cool, and it has been interesting to see Dante in particular kind of popping up in places I haven't expected. AFL like AFL games. It's kind of in the background between commercials and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty surreal, really, to be hearing our music in those kind of spaces.
I bet. And then you're listening out for more now. You know that that one particular song being played can get you something.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, every now I'm more of a league guy anyway, but it'll pop up kind of all over the place anyway. So I'm always keeping my ear out. I think there's one point as well where it turned up on an episode of Home and Away, which was
Oh, great.
pretty wild, um, very different, but yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, nice. Now, I know black is the only colour of the rainbow for metalheads, mate, but have you put much thought into what you're going to wear on the night?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, I actually really like wearing a suit, so we'll have to wait and see. Um, Probably just something simple, but everyone kind of goes big for these kind of things. We'll see how we go.
And I know Winston was there last night with last year, sorry, with Parkway Drive winning the award. He handled himself like the true superstar that he is, bro. So, have you called him yet for tips and fashion advice?
Absolutely, I have not, but I mean, Winston is just generally an inspiration. He's always so well spoken, but always comes off so cool and kind as well. He's so appreciative of everything that Parkway have gotten, and it's something to look up to. Kind of not getting lost in the noise of it all, and getting kind of too big headed. To see someone like that still being so gracious and humble about these kind of things. That's something I definitely will. I've always taken away from Winston.
Yeah, and I was actually there last year, and I went over to chat to him after he won, and it was just people everywhere wanting a piece of him, and his smile stayed on his face the wole time. Like, he didn't once look like he wanted to be somewhere else. Like he's a true ambassador for the Australian.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah. Now, I hate to use the term competing when it comes to music, mate, but in effect, you're up against fellow Aussies, make them suffer, Polaris, Speed, and Windwaker. So why is Northlane going to get the chocolates?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it would be awesome to get it, but in the end, yeah, once again, I'm not the kind of dude who's going to gas myself up too much. We are in a category with a bunch of amazing bands, and they're all friends actually. So it's kind of it's hard to say. But for me, I mean, we've been around the block. We've been doing this for a while, and it's been really cool to see the support on a song like Dante. So if we were to win it, that would be amazing. But in the end, whoever wins it, I think everyone's just so hardworking and just as deserving. So definitely not for me to say that we 100% have it in the bag. Yeah.
Have you got a speech prepared just in case, or are you going to wing it?
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna. If it was to happen, I'd have to wing it. You know, yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But there's obviously so many amazing people involved that I won't forget if it comes to that.
Nice, man. Like, so last year was the first time this category was included for the hard rock and heavy bands, and it is awesome that they did. But I noticed they still haven't asked a heavy metal or a hard rock band to play on the night. Have you noticed that?
I have. That being said, it's I guess because it is such a broad event. I guess our style of music might be a bit scary for some of the other bands, some of the other artists there, some of the more pop focused or even just the indie artists. But maybe in the future it would be awesome to see that crossover. And I think as some of these heavier bands are kind of bridging kind of different styles, and also even with a band like Speed, kind of transcending the genre and kind of hitting so many different places, being a hardcore band. Yeah, I think it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later.
I think another way we can look at that too is that Friends of Rom stuffed it for everybody when they performed Never Had So Much Fun a few years ago.
Of course, Friends of Rom will do that.
I actually spoke to Jay about that the other day, and he's quite proud of the way they represented us, which so is
Absolutely. That's punk rock. That's what it's all about.
exactly. But a lot of sort of more serious note, bro. Like, how good is it to have music like this recognized on a national level now? Like for so many years we've been the bastard child. Let's face it. Like shoved in the corner and brushed on the head every now and then. Like, who's a good boy? But we're finally actually this music is out there now, and people know that we've been represented by bands like yourself. It's how important is that for the future of Australian music?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just shows as well as it has been in the last 5 to 10 years. Even heavy music has kind of been worldwide, and especially the Australian bands. Whenever we're touring overseas, I feel like Australian heavy bands are kind of the talk of the town, especially in US and Europe and stuff. Just because there are so many awesome bands working so hard to get over there, and I think in the end, it is kind of putting Australian music on the map in a different way around the world. So it's really, really cool to see that it's being recognized in that way. And I just hope that it keeps on growing and keeps on kind of getting bigger.
Now, speaking of good Australian bands, mate, I told a friend of mine earlier on that I was speaking to you today, and he rang me about 2 minutes before I spoke to you, and he's gone, my son Corey is a massive fan of theirs, and he wants to know who Northlane's favourite Australian bands are at the moment.
Oh, favorite Australian bands at the moment. Oh, there's a few different ones. I mean, Carnival's always a go-to for us. Carnival's such a big inspiration for us, as are Parkway Drive. Um, in terms of, there's a few newer bands or like younger bands that I really like Thornhill. They just put out a new record that's amazing. I really love that band. Also, there's an artist named Eka Vandal. She's like a punk rock kind of crossover with at times with kind of an R&B hip hoppy vibe. And she's one of my favorite artists at the moment. But there's far too many to name, to be honest. Windwaker as well. I love Windwaker, so it's really cool to see them in that APRA category as well. Honestly, all the bands in our category, I love them all. They're all good mates and all ridiculously good bands. So definitely let Corey know to check them all out.
No, it's hard to answer. I've had people ask me the same thing, and it's like you get put on the spot. You just can't think in that moment.
Totally. Absolutely.
So after the APRAs, mate, you got a little bit of time off, and then Northlane headed out on the All Over Australia regional tour that kicks off in Gladstone on July the 31st. You hit a heap of regional areas, wind up in Chelsea Heights on the 24th of August. So decent run of shows, mate.
Absolutely. I love doing a regional tour, and we're heading out with Ocean Grove as well, which we haven't done a tour with them in a long, long time. We toured with them maybe 6, 7 years ago, pretty early in my time with Northlane, and it's great to see them continuing to build on what they've done. But yeah, the regional runs are always so much fun, and it's cool to kind of get back to almost where we started. We're playing venues like like Penrith Panthers and stuff, which for Northlane in particular, that's like a home ground kind of show. It's where it all kind of began. So that's awesome. And I love playing Chelsea Heights as well. That's such an amazing venue. And there's so many cool places that just don't get these kind of shows very often. And when they do, they like really go hard for it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And being at home, it's always just it feels like comfortable, you know? And it's like our yeah, it's our bread and butter. Being just playing the pubs, playing to the punters who just work all day and just need a bit of a, need a bit of a what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Need a bit of a break at the end of the day, you know? Just want to get let loose and listen to some heavy music. So it's always a good time and I can't wait.
I'm going to actually put you on the spot here, mate. I'm going to apologise in advance because I only just thought of this question. But who do you reckon goes off more, regional crowds or your city crowds?
Ooh, you know what? Like I love the big capital city headline shows. But I think that the city folk, they're a bit more like self-conscious, a bit
Yeah,
more like what does everyone think of what I'm doing in this crowd right now? And they still go off and they still have energy, but I think that the regional shows are where the people are really having a good time. They're coming to a show that's like a 5 minute trip from their house down the road, and
I know
you know
where the
they'll
next one's going to be.
exactly. They'll come have a few beers. They're there for a good time. They're not just there to see another band on a weeknight. They're down. They're really excited. So to be honest, yeah, I think the regional crowds really go off.
So city folk, lift your game.
Totally, absolutely.
So from there on, mate, you take a bit of time off to write your next album. Like, have you given much thought to what direction it's going to go in yet, or does that sort of more come later?
I mean, we've been slowly chipping away at stuff behind the scenes for a little while. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it just feels like what's going to happen next is just a natural transition from the Mirror's Edge EP. And I don't know, it's always hard because I feel like what we're always trying to do is just build on what we've done the last time, and it's not necessarily like a big shift in direction, but there's always going to be new elements and experimentation on stuff that we haven't really done before. So I guess people should just expect, just more growth from what we've done the last couple of releases.
Actually, you raise a good point there, bro, because Northlane are a band, a lot of bands say their sound's always evolving, but you guys actually do. Like, every record has got so many different elements on it. Like, as a band, do you feel pressure because of that going into the next one? Like, people expect you to go off in another direction, or is that just part of the process?
Well, at this point, I think if when a band does make really drastic shifts in their sound and you know it sounds very different from their last release, they can kind of get caught in a bit of a trap of like, well, what's it going to be? Is it going to be heavy? Is it going to be soft? Is it going to be whatever? Is it going to be something in between? But I think like I'm really happy and kind of proud of what we've always done, which is never really we've never tried to like fit what's currently happening, and we've always just tried to do what makes us happy and what makes us feel good. And in that sense, yeah, I don't know. It's a yeah, it's never felt like much of a. There's always pressure, obviously, to write the best thing that you can, but there's never any pressure to kind of be pushing it too far or like, what are we gonna do next? Like everything we've done always feels like a really natural progression, and it's almost just personal growth in terms of like, even with John, with his writing of the music and the instrumentals, like it's him taking what he's learnt from maybe, how these songs have gone down live, and then taking that into the next writing session and being like, well, this kind of energy was cool. This kind of was a bit of a funny vibe live. So maybe we'll try and we'll stray away from maybe this tempo or this kind of vibe. And it's always just felt really natural. And I think if we ever made kind of a big, big shift and kind of went away from the sound we've been building, because we've kind of always been doing stuff in incremental, well, there's been incremental growth. I think we've been able to give ourselves freedom to do anything we want. So that I think it's cool. You know, when a band shifts sounds or maybe goes a little bit softer or whatever that is, and that's kind of just the direction they go. I really like that we can do that and go maybe write a song that's a bit more electronic or melody focused, but then still go back to being heavy and still write these songs that are like meant to be heavy songs, not meant to be poppy or melodic in that way. And I think that's just given us so much freedom to just do whatever we want.
I'm straight, bro. Now, before we let you go, I've got a new segment I've introduced called Photo Bombs. So basically, before we chat, I've gone through your social media and I found a few photos that I want to know a little bit more about.
Okay.
So I found this one here, man. Like, how awesome is that shot?
That's sick. Yeah, that's funny because Joshy doing some crowd surfing, but he's had some issues with his back lately.
Oh,
So he
yeah, I
had to,
wonder why.
yeah, he's getting on, he's getting on. But he's had to retire the stage dive, the crowd surf. So this is I'm sure if Josh sees this, he'll cry because he's like, I can't do that anymore.
Sorry, mate.
No, I'm kidding. He's all right.
I mean, it'd be pretty bloody hard to play that. Like, did you guys get the shit at him when he hit a bum note when he was doing that?
Well, no, but I've got a funny story about that. There was because he would do that like last song of the set, but it would be like last song and then into an encore. So, you know, we're meant to walk off stage and act all mysterious, and people will be like, what's happening? Are they going to play another song? But there was this one time where he had his belt pack on and it fell off while he was crowd surfing. So when he got back to stage, when we've all walked off stage, he's like on the mic being like, hey, if anyone finds like a pack on the floor, could you just please come hand it up to the stage? So it really killed the moment.
All right. This other one I've found, mate, is looks a little bit more personal, mate. Like, it looks like it's captured you in a pretty introspective moment.
Yes. Well, this was actually, this was recording the Mirror's Edge EP at Will Partney's house at his studio. And honestly, this was just a bit of a laugh. This was towards the end of us recording, and we were having a big family dinner with Will and his partner. And yeah, we just thought it was funny to all sit around the table and maybe say grace, you know?
Looks like old mate standing behind him there is just getting ready to throttle him.
Yeah.
Hands close to the throat.
No, he's giving them a blessing. Big blessing.
Very nice. All right, Marcus. Well, thanks very much for your time, bro. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Best of luck at the
Absolutely.
awards. I'll be coming down for it. So if I see you in the crowd, we'll have a catch up.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time.